Yeah, it worked out perfectly. We found him on the first morning.
Croc shows up just where it was supposed to be, on time, on everything. I thought, man, this is perfect.
It's a big animal. That thing.
The first thing Clayton says is, we need a bigger gun. That's the first thing he said. We ran back to the truck, got a bigger rifle.
600 kilo.
It literally seemed like it was 3 or 4 feet across the back. It was enormous.
That's a big animal. It's got to be perfect. All we had to do then was wait for him to show us his head so we could shoot him. He's moving. So he started to move and he came forward. And when he came forward, he stopped. Get ready. Wait for him to stop. Wait. And when he came forward, he stopped perfectly so we could get time so Steve could make a shot. If you're confident, shoot him. Take your time. Again, quickly shoot him. Again, shoot him again. Wait. Don't shoot his skull. Shoot him. Shoot him again, quickly.
Put 3 shots in him, and I thought we put all the shots in the right place, and with his back legs, he propelled himself into the water like in seconds. Okay.
The thrashing of his tail propelled him forward, and he managed to make it to the water. Quickly, get bullets. Get bullets, come. We quickly sprinted down to the water. Get ready. Have you loaded?
No.
Reloaded the gun. Just load. And we're hopefully... Stand forward. Looking for some sign of the crocodile so we could make another shot. Yeah, Palenguin. He's there.
Bubbles.
We did see some bubbles, and which clearly indicated that's where the crocodile was. You guys get ready. I'm going to the car to get the rod, okay?
We see bubbles, and then more bubbles, and that was it. Okay, so we figured that essentially this thing had died. He's got 3 rounds of .375 into him, and we hit him pretty well, so I'm sure he was DOA, but he's still got in the water. Ideally, you don't want him going in the water, obviously. You see that thing? What a beast.
So I have a system on just an ordinary spinning rod where I tie 2 or 3 treble hooks and a weight behind it. If we can just get a line on him, then we at least know where he is. And I've used this in the past with success to retrieve a dead crocodile in the water.
Perfect cast, literally. That's about where the bubbles were.
So basically you want to cast it over the area and then hopefully you can snag him and then bring him up or get a rope around him and then bring him up.
Who knows, it could be a log, it could be whatever.
We're gonna have to wait for the boat and then I can go out and try and get it undone. We then went and got a boat.
Welcome to Africa. If the tracker shows up, he's got this little inflatable Zodiac boat. I think it's maybe 8 feet long, tops, with a little hand pump. You could have a job as a fishing guide in Alaska, Robert. We use the same boat. Jump into the water, we got crocodiles in the water, and I had visions of this thing coming up and grabbing our boat because it's in a tiny little piece of water. So, topped off all my life insurance before I left home. We've got a paddle made out of a fence post or whatever the heck it was. Paddled around, poking around. We thought we'd come across this thing instantly because he looked like he was dead going into the water.
There's lots of obstruction down here.
I'm sure.
It's not going to be easy.
You know, went through this whole rigmarole trying to find the crocodile, this whole piece of water, poking around, trying to figure out where this croc landed. That didn't work.
Okay, Steve, I think we're going to make another plan here. The next plan was to get some long poles. So we took 3 or 4 tent poles and we tied them together. And we started probing the area where we thought the crocodile would be.
It's a little depressing, but we'll get there. Hopefully we can find him. If he's alive, well, or dead. I'm sure they'll find him. You know, I think we've done all we could do to this point, and now we just have to let Mother Nature take its course, and we'll hopefully recover it.
I'm just sharpening up this treble hook that we made. If it does touch the crocodile, it's gonna bite. We're pretty confident we'll get it today.
This morning, we're over at the encampment picking up poles, fishing rods, whatever we can to try to recover this animal. We definitely think it's probably on the bottom, most likely dead, and I guess we'll sort it out soon enough. So, I don't know, we're praying for it and we'll see what happens. Here we are again. Believe me, I've lost about 8.5 hours sleep thinking about this last night and playing it over in my mind. I just didn't think I messed up. You know, you got to trust your shot, your gun, your training, your instinct, and I guess most importantly, trust yourself.
We were hoping that he would wash up onto one of the sides and we would find him dead or belly up. So that's why we spent a lot of time in a few days looking for the crocodile. We were very optimistic we would find him every time we went back there. No luck. I don't know, the pool's quite deep. So, yeah, we're gonna give it a break now and then regroup and see what else we're gonna do.
Steve was living through a roller coaster of highs and lows on this trip, but like any responsible hunter, the loss of a wounded croc continued to haunt him.
Literally, we have spent days looking for this dang crocodile. He's MIA. We have no idea where he is.
We definitely thought he was dead. So that's why we spent so much time looking for him, because we were all convinced he was dead.
Literally, that crocodile is the first animal in 40 years I've not recovered. So that's a first for me, which is kind of a shame. But, you know, I guess it happens to not everyone, but it happens to certain people, I guess. Especially this crocodile hunting, that is difficult. So I can't wait to come back and do that again.
And I lost a croc in Tanzania many years ago, one of just a couple of animals I've ever lost in Africa, and it was heartbreaking. It's a sick feeling. Any animal, you don't want to wound, you don't want to lose, but I guess if there's a good news moment of this story, it's the fact that that was a problem croc. It's not going to be a problem anymore. So at least the locals are happy that this monster, this giant dinosaur lizard, has been taken out of the food chain, which is not a bad thing here.
We made our shots. We've done all we could do. You know, time will tell. We're heading back to the States here in a couple of days, so hopefully we hear some news, good news. If not, you know, that's crocodile hunting, I guess.
But it didn't take long to get news from Africa. Sure enough, days after returning to Bray's Island in South Carolina, Steve heard from Clayton that the croc had been found. All 14 feet and 1,300 pounds of him. Steve's hunt didn't go exactly as planned, but it was nevertheless a success.